Hello, welcome to a new video. Today we're going to take a look at the Shadow Ninetales with the new move Energy Ball from today's Community Day. And we got a really good Shadow version here that we can try and run. Currently it has the moveset of Energy Ball and Solar Beam, which is most likely not as ideal. But today we're going to take a look at how good this Pokemon is going to be in the GO Battle League. And we're going to already, we have at this point already a video out for the Alolan Shadow Ninetales with the move Chilling Water. And Chilling Water is exactly what we're going to go for now with our Florges. We're going to have an interesting team here. It's a little bit more difficult to build a team around a pure Fire-type Pokemon than around Ice and Fairy-type Pokemon like the other Ninetales. But today we're going to have an interesting team that should hopefully allow us to kind of utilize the new coverage that we gained with this Community Day with the Energy Ball. And yeah, today you're going to see all the builds I did. You see on if this Pokemon is good or not. You see on where I may made a mistake or something like this. This is a Pokemon that I rarely really play, especially like Steelix I don't really play at all. Ninetales I don't really play at all. Florges I play sometimes. It's a good Pokemon. It's a really good Pokemon to run right now. One of the best save-offs, but also a very good lead. And you can here already win the battle. Alright, fantastic lead for ourselves, but because we don't have actually Fairy-type charge-up coverage, it's actually more neutral than you thought, but the opponent stops out into the GO guys and we can utilize our Ninetales. We're going to go up quite a bit higher because I was thinking that there's no way that Ninetales Weather Ball is going to be able to knock out the opponent's GO guys from this range. I know it's Shadow, I know it's Stab, I know it's a strong move, but like it's very... Okay, now it just knocks them out straight away, no doubt about that. Then I guess, yeah, I thought I would have needed a little bit more damage still there. But apparently Ninetales has different plans today. Ninetales has the potential of doing a lot of damage here. And then comes the opponent's Carbink, and at this point I know already we're going to be fine. We have here the coverage of Energy Ball, which actually for the first time in this video is coming in kinda clutch. We are forcing bullshit from the opponent. We go into our Steelix, we can stop out now into our Florges, and we decide to use a shield here, which I should have not done in hindsight. It does most likely not matter because we have such a good alignment right now. But here, I should have rather even went for the Trailblaze, because Trailblaze would have allowed me to farm them all the way down at this point already. But otherwise, here, we're going to be able to knock them out. We can, yeah, see that the Carbink had enough forfeits, and we can move on to the next opponent. Well, we have a tough lead. We're going to have the Shadow Talonflame. And Shadow Talonflame is going to take super effective damage from that Chilling Water. And this is interesting. It's not going to do as much as the Ninetales did because we have a little bit less attack on our Florges. But what we can do is we can swap out into our Kanto, Shadow, and Ninetales and take that Flame Charge. Which is fantastic because it's going to be a resisted hit. But we can now go ahead, use a shield, farm them all the way down with our Ember, but of course they're going to swap out instead. They're going to go into their third, which we can still kind of punish with some Weather Balls as we're going to do some solid damage. And the thing is here as well, this is the beauty of Steelix in the back. Steelix is a very bulky Pokemon that is going to be able to resist normal type damage, so they're forced to go for Trailblaze, but this looked like a Swift to me, and with a Swift they don't... Okay, it's a Trailblaze, never mind. Doesn't really matter. They're not going to do that much damage. We're going to get here the farm down done. But in comes Annihilate, and this is where things are going to be turning a little bit awkward. And to be fair, what I would actually say is, I feel like I would have been better off running the non-Shadow version of Steelix compared to the Shadow version. I actually do think this would have helped me out quite a bit in those matchups here today. Anyway, we're going to have the Annihilate, where we can go ahead and go for a charge move here. We're going to be able to go for the Chilling Water. And I was thinking that I had some energy still on my Ninetales, which is absolutely wrong. And they are doing a great job here at catching the move at the Talonflame. Not a lot they can do here. I don't know how much energy they have. I need to farm them down basically there as well. But I know that the Annihilate has enough energy to even go for a close combat if they wanted to at this point. Which they want to, and they're going to win this battle. Alright, it's okay. We have Ninetales against us now, but the Alolan Ninetales now against the Kanto Ninetales. And while they have no coverage for us, I'm going to be able to catch the move here. I'm going to be able to catch the Weather Ball Ice, which is going to be resisted damage and force them to stop straight away. They're going to go into the third, and here's the beauty. We are going to be able to farm... Not farm them down, but we're going to be able to get faster to our charge move than they can go for their charge moves, which means we're going to be able to go for 2 Weather Balls back to back here kinda straight away. We should maybe even be able to knock them out with it, but we're going to do so much pressure against them. The Weather Balls coming in, we're going to get the shield, and then comes the Steelix, which can again take some hits. Do they go for the Swift? They go for the Swift. That's going to be a resisted hit, my friend. And we can go and try to utilize this matchup, getting as much energy as possible. I know they can still go for a Trailblaze, but at the end of the day, I'd rather keep the energy for the late game. Let's see if this was a wise choice. We know only about one Pokemon, but we didn't know that there was a Jellicent in the back. But I'm still quite hopeful. It looks like we're actually in a very solid position because we have the Trail Base stored. I'm going to be able to punish the opponent's Jellicent, force them to kind of go for a shield here, or they let the move go and put themselves into a range where I can just farm down. That doesn't really matter anyway to me now, as I can go for the Chilling Water. Apparently, we have a higher attack stat with our Florges here actually compared to the opponent's Ninetales. Of course, in the video that we did earlier for the Alolan Ninetales as well, we had the Shadow version, which then does more damage than definitely the Florges. Okay, horrific lead. Very bad lead, and this is the first time I've faced Shadow Scizor in a lead, and I regret what I just did here. I should have went to my Steelix, because Steelix is just the worst answer towards it. But I was just thinking I kind of want to try to bait out potential Water-type Pokemon and have then the Energy Ball to punish them. But apparently they're running Scizor plus Gastrodon, which is honestly a good choice. It's a good core together. There's not really anything that breaks the core. I'm curious on what they have in the back. They need to have something in the back that can deal with Fighting-type Pokemon, I feel like. It needs to be something at least there. And it needs to be kind of neutral towards Fairies as well. So let's see. Let's see what we're going to have here. We're going to have the Sludge Bomb coming through, that's fine, but we kind of had to. In comes Steelix, in comes... Okay, it's good against Fighting, it's neutral against Fairies. I was absolutely right, spot on what I predicted here, but it's just still going to be a tough matchup for us. Here's one issue though, look at this. There has been lag, you see I saw lag, I didn't get the excellent done because of that. And this actually might be a bigger issue than you expect there as well, most likely, because what we have now is a scenario where I need to get the floor just lower and lower, farm them down as much as possible in order to have a chance of winning this battle. But, like, let's take a look at this. The opponent's going to be kind of low. We're going to be able to stop out about there. Yeah, we're not going to be able to catch the move. We need to catch the move here onto our own floor just in order to have any kind of chance of winning this battle. But like this, I'm not going to have any chance at all anymore because I know their floor just still has some energy stored. And while they're debuffed, they're still going to chunk away quite a bit of my health with a Trailblaze. While it can knock them out, I'm not going to be able to break through the opponent's Florges as I still even have a shield left. So actually missing the bubbles didn't really matter too much in this battle. I would have lost no matter what. But that was a hard counter matchup. But here's, by the way, on why this team is supposed to work, by the way. It's mainly trying to utilize the Florges as a grass-type Pokemon, which is kind of funny. Because what you have, we have the Ninetales as our Tailsub, which is going to be, of course, utilizing the Energy Ball in order to deal with those situations. But what we try to do here is we try to bait out those ground-type Pokemon. We're going to try to bait out those water-type Pokemon that we don't really want to face with our Steelix. And then here, by the way, I make a mistake. I thought I would be able to farm down. And then I realized, okay, I'm not going to be able to farm down. And then I panicked and went for the Weather Ball. And now the Weather Ball is not going to be enough to do stuff here either. So, yeah, we're sadly going to be able to not do anything there. We're very likely going to lose this battle at this point because there is going to be... there's going to be basically not a lot that I can do here. Like, I'm going to be able to shield this move up. They're very likely going to swap now, have a good answer in the... Oh, they have Moltres in the back. And this is going to be interesting. Chilling Water's coming through. The attack is going to drop. And I can go for another Chilling Water. And I need to try to somehow get the opponent's shield, which I do. And now I need to get energy on my Ninetales. Because basically, what we have to do here is we have to get energy in order to still punish that Gastrodon. But I also don't really... I can't allow them to either swap or knock us out with like a Brave Bird. And so I have to knock them out here and hope that I still get to a move in time, and I can. And this is going to be a goodbye to the Gastrodon. And this is why you have Energy Ball onto the Ninetales. Moving on to the next opponent, we will see the Skeledirge in the lead. Let's see what we can do here. We can go for the Chilling Water. This is our only real play, because if you take a look at our backline, we're quite weak to them. But as long as we're going to hit one of those moves here, one of the Chilling Waters, which we did here already, we are going to be able to even knock them out with a Weather Ball from our Ninetales, or now in the beginning even with our Florges here with another Chilling Water. This is perfect. You're getting the KO against the opponent, and in comes the Venusaur, and I misplay this one hard. Why? Because I stopped onto my Ninetales right away. I panicked. I knew that my lead is going to be bad against it, but what I needed to do is I need to go into my Steelix instead, because I needed to keep my Fire type in the back, because also my Steelix is not great against the opponent's Venusaur, better than our Florges would have been. So I had actually two options. I either should have stayed in or I should have went to my Steelix. But what I did here is a big mistake, because now the opponent has a 2-cat in there, and our only hope is Steelix for both of the opponent's Pokemon, and that is just not going to work out. What you see here is we have to try to go and catch a move, which I am able to do, which is perfectly fine. Like, that worked out really well. Like, catching the friendly plant from the opponent here worked out really well, but they're not even knocking us out, getting a ton of energy against the Stillback. And we're gonna have to go for a Psychic Fangs, but our only hope now is that they somehow want to swap out again. That they're somehow low enough that I can knock them out with just Thunder Fang on the 2 cannon. But what we will see here very soon is that this is just a dream, as the 2 cannon is not in farm down range. I don't think I would have never been able to farm down there. They just need too many hits there, basically. But yeah, I'm not going to be able to reach another move in time as well. Wonder if there was another way of winning this, but I could have won this if I just stayed in the lead. That was on me, that wasn't down to the team. I should have played differently, but I just, like, this is the thing as well for Go Battle League, especially with teams that you haven't really played previously. You kind of need to have, like, your decision making done already before you start into battles, because, like, if you see certain Pokemon, it's just tough. This battle annoyed me. And I will show you immediately why. Which again, kind of is annoying because we've seen now one battle prior, definitely, which came down to lag, not like kind of punishing me. And this is the same. Look at this. I should have knocked him out now. And instead, the opponent gets an overheat off. So I would have had a full health floor just with a bit of energy. And this would have allowed me to get definitely rid of the opponent's Altaria, and I would have played it differently, and the opponent would have played it differently. They would have not went into the Altaria in this kind of circumstances. And this is super annoying because I definitely would have had a different chance there if the game would have just allowed me to knock out the Macargo, where I should have locked out the Macargo. Anyway, we have the Runerigas here, and I made a great catch here. I made a catch on a Rock Tomb and onto a Fire-type Pokemon. But I was thinking, okay, I need to keep my lead, I need to keep alignment, and I need to kind of... Like, this is the thing. I need to kind of get rid of the Runerigas in this kind of way, because, like, I need to have my lead up against, like, the opponent there, because otherwise it just doesn't work out. We're going to have to use a shield here. We need to have alignment. But again, Energy Ball can kind of come clutch here. Runerigas is going to be now in a position where Energy Ball should be knocking them out. And I'm not sure if I would have been able to do it any other way. I guess if I would have went for the Weather Ball spam, I most likely would have done the same. But in comes the Pangaro, and of course we need to have our Florges here. They stop onto the Azumarill, and I'm going to go for the Trailblaze. And here is the thing. I know that I kind of have now right matchup still on my Steelix, but I need to keep some energy on my lead, and so I stay in for a little bit, swap out into my Steelix, and go for the farm down here now with my Thunder Fangs. And the Ice Beam's coming in, which means they don't run the move of Hydro Pump, which is perfect because they're going to go for another charge move now, which means they're going to be energy dry, which is going to allow our Florges later on to absolutely win this battle. But in comes here now the opponent's Pangoro. I am going to be able to go ahead and go for one Psychic Fangs. I will go for the Chilling Water because I want to drop the opponent's attack here, of course, which will allow us to survive those hits a little bit easier. But in hindsight, actually, a Trailblaze very likely would have knocked them out. Trailblaze does 5 more damage compared to the Chilling Water. But it doesn't really matter, because we're still going to be able to win this battle, thanks to our lovely Trailblaze Florges. Okay. Fantastic lead force kind of for this team, but just generally, let's talk a little bit about Ninetales. Like, for a low Ninetales, I was surprised on how strong this Pokemon actually was, because, yeah, like, it worked out really well in order to kind of bait out those Pokemon and still punish them quite well. Like, I was actually really surprised on how strong the Alone Ninetales was. Definitely, by the way, link for this video is going to be at the end card. Check that video out. And also, by the way, if you're still listening to this one, feel free to leave a like on this on this video, of course. Helps me out a ton. It's for free for you and helps me out a ton, especially in an interlude season like this, where content, of course, is always a little bit more tougher. It is what it is. Anyway, basically, what I want to say here is that the Ninetales, I think, has some potential as well. The Kanto Ninetales has some potential. It is not as much of a difference towards how you play this Pokemon, though, compared to what you have with the Alone Ninetales. So the difference here is quite a bit lower, and I do think it's a bit more tricky to use this Ninetales or this moveset in a good way compared to the Alolan Ninetales, because what the Alolan Ninetales has, of course, going forward for it is just the type itself being more diverse, being more newish. And here, by the way, I kind of screw up the battle as well myself. Like, this one was not great not great play for me with the Steelix. But, yeah, basically, like, I feel like that the Ninetales has some potential. I could have played some of the battles here better as well. I went a total of 5-5 with this team. I definitely could have won one or two more. One of them I definitely was due to lag. So, like, it's kind of hit or miss there. I still do feel like that I do think that this is not going to be meta at all, while I feel like that the Alolan Ninetales is going to be actually a Pokemon that you have to be kind of prepared for, because it has way more potential. But this is going to be it for this video. Hope you enjoyed it. If you did, feel free to like, and I will see you then. Bye-bye.